maybe he swings back. I'm pretty safe. I'm pretty far out of his range. Yeah, after that we have the bastard cross and the true cross. Croza bastarda plus the croza bastarda, which looks like that. Sorry. There. Yeah. And then we have the high guard of the serpent, which is Posta Serpentina La Soprana. Up like this. There's a good topic of discussion. Half swording.
Yeah,
half swording.
I didn't want to distract you, but I was going to ask, does any of that half swording stuff tie into harness question, fighting against armor? Or is that all still unarmored?
Both.
No kidding. See, I would never
half sword in an armored fight. Yeah, me neither. We know they did it.
Yeah.
And the last one is supposed to come along with one hand here. Oh, you know what? I've got my phone on me. Hey, talk for a second while I get my phone out. Somebody.
I really never me.
So this is all Italian system, right? So I've studied the German system a little bit, not as much as they've studied the Italian system. But the German system has a lot of similarities.
Your body can only move so many ways.
Yeah. Now, as a beginner, we started off with 6 basic guards. I don't remember the German words for all of them because...
Hey, I got good news for you.
I do, and we have them.
Is this one flute?
That is flute. That's flute Rex.
Okay. Then you got ox.
There you go.
Ox.
Bomb Tag.
Bomb Tag.
1460s.
Yep. Ooh. And then there are
Ox and bomb
guards, but I don't remember them. Albert? Oh, the
Albert.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was Wolver. There's
because you'd have to be a fool to attack somebody who has a point on the ground. You know exactly what he's going to do. He's going to stab you when you step in. Now, it does get more complicated than that. I don't remember all of them, but a lot of the guards that they're showing you, I consider transitional because really, you never start a fight like this. I mean, you don't come into a fight like this. But in fighting, your opponents are going to do unexpected things, and you have to react to them. So maybe at some point, yes, in fact, you do find yourself in that position, either blocking or in transition, getting away from something else. So it's always useful to understand where your body's at, where your sword is at, and what your attack lines are, and what your opponent may be doing to defend against you. Because if you know what your opponent's defense is going to be to an attack, you can then start the attack, see if your opponent is responding how you think he should, and if he doesn't, then you just continue and wound him with your attack, and if he is defending against it, then you say, well, I'm going to change my attack halfway through, and then counter his counter before he can react to it.
I want to read you a Fiore di Liberty quote. This is from his 1404 book that he wrote about his experiences in the late 1300s. And this is him talking about this particular posta, and he's also talking about the use of the sword in general. And he says, and this is Fiore being very boastful and trash talking, which is great. He says, "You're cowards and know little of this art. You're all words without any deeds. I challenge you to come at me one after another if you dare. And even if you are 100 of you, I will destroy all of you." Good God.
Wow.
Here's another one. This is very funny. This is similar to what he's talking about. He says, "I will crush anyone who opposes me. I am of royal blood. I dispense justice, advance the cause of good, and destroy evil. To those who learn my crossings, I will grant great fame and renown in the art of armed combat."
He's a stand-up guy.
This I love that, just boasting that he can take one after another, have 100 men who should defeat you.
Not only
The
that,
picture is him doing this, he's fighting 3 guys who all armed swords, and I'm like, okay.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't feel the most confident
Yeah?
just standing like this. Yeah. So 2 of them.
He does it here. He does it with like a big fanning out there. He can push it with her. Yeah. I should say close to front.
If maybe he knew something we didn't know, we'd have to go back like 600 years to ask him.
Yeah. That is the nice thing about whenever I'm teaching a seminar and I'm teaching people about longsword. Whenever anybody says, "God, that'll never work," I say, Don't yell at me. Don't dance on Fiore is great. Don't dance on Lincoln's is great. Or Leaks now or whoever. Like it's not, I didn't make this stuff up. It all comes out of the manuals. It all comes out of historical texts.
And the interesting thing is that some of these names of sword masters show up in other people's manuals.
Yeah.
So we know that some of these things aren't just somebody's random secret diary of ramblings where they think they're a superhero. And in fact, they are actually well-known masters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you guys going to be doing any fighting today?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's do it. Let's get your eyes. I'll just you guys fight.
Hey Kyle, just a couple of bouts, and then let them know about the 5 o'clock.
Oh yeah. Okay. I don't know what time. I don't know what time it is. I don't know what it is.
It's about, you got about 10 minutes. It's like 3:40. So give them just a couple rounds so they see what you've been talking about.
Sure.
And then at 5 o'clock they're going to be actually doing just fighting, not as much talking.
Yeah, this is a discussion. We're going to be doing more fighting.
Now, can any audience members come up and handle any of the swords and go through some of the guards and have you instruct them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do some fighting and we'll get some steel swords up here. We can look at some guards and stuff. Absolutely.
So, as civilians in their clothing, just walking down the street carrying their swords, somebody takes a front at the other guy and is like, wait, whoa, whoa, why are you wearing matching pants? These are my pants.
How dare you?
These pants are my family pants. You cannot, my family pants have been in my pants for generations. Why are you copying them?
And also do
And then
a
they
judicial
fight.
duel. A judicial duel. Anybody Game of Thrones? I assume everyone's Game of Thrones here. Game of Thrones, you know, trial by combat?
Yep.
That was a real thing that happened. Unfortunately, that was a real thing that happened for a long, long time. Basically, you can go before a judge and say, that's my land. And you go, no, it's not, it's mine. I have a document. He says, no, I inherited it. And the judge would say, let's let God decide. And they would fight each other. Usually, sometimes some death, sometimes not. Sometimes they would fight in full armor with a bunch of different weapons. Sometimes they would fight with just clothing. Fiore III, the guy who comes outside, he fought 5 duels. He says mostly the duels are fought because someone would come to him and say, teach me your secrets. And he'd be like, no. And they'd be like, you don't have any secrets. He'd be like, oh, crap. All right.
Again, Fiore, he's the great guy.
Okay. You guys, take your time. I'm going to go through some techniques with Mike here because I can actually hit him. Okay, let's do this one here. So we see here a mutual bind, or a middle bind. This is super common when happens in sword fighting, and it's not like what you see in the movies. So this is the middle bind. Oh, so in a movie, right? This is when I tell him, you know, I knew the whole time you're going to die, and this is great. And then we push, and then we spring back. This is not really bad. Often it's usually like this. That's pretty much the end of the fight. That's pretty much it. Like if I'm that close that I can do this, why would I not just do that? And so that's what you see in the first play here. It's an arm cut followed by a cross. Fine, cut. Let's go straight down. Cut his thumb off or whatever may be his arm. And then it goes straight into his chest. He's dead. Right? How long did it take? How long does the sword fight last? Seconds?
Well,
1 minute?
sword fight lasts a really long time as long as you stay out here. But as soon as you step into the range and the sword's completely clad, it goes over quick. It's a chess match. It is, you know, watching in high-level tournaments when people are getting towards the end where you've got like 4 competitors left, all of a sudden the guys get a lot more careful.
Yeah. Most of the fights they try to set aside each other.
They play at range.
We're doing the contact walking. We're trying to get each other to get into a position. Yeah, great. Go back to that big close along here, right? Which one of us do you think has the advantage, right? I can cut him before he gets in. I'll get him. He needs something. I'll get him before he gets with a big white. Right? Hurry up. All right, this is going to play. What's the next stage? That one was the. Okay, so next one. The bind. And then we see the sword. Would I grab a sharp sword in real life? Save me, save my life. Here we go. Bind. All right, he does this. Just like that. That's the technique. You know, and like would I ever choose to grab a sharp sword in real life? But this guy's trying to kill me. Okay, and then the alternative to that, or the counter to that, is I better cut it. I grab very still. He's blocking stuff. And so Fiore does this. And, and you can see, there it is. This is 1405-ish. Fine, sword grab, knee kick. There all is. So, hey, 2018, 1405. All right, ready?
Some things are timeless. Like telling people with sword grabs.
No, because I have to put my contact lenses in.
Oh, you're using sparring.
I know, but.
What time we got?
You want to use mine as like.
Questions? Yes, sir. You.
Yeah, I'll take some questions. Go ahead.
So where normally are you like looking when you're dealing with an opponent? Are you mostly focused on their chest or their blade?
So, we have a couple of different sources for this one that they kind of contradict each other. But the one that I like the most is Morozzo. He's a Bolognese of Bologna. He was a fighter in the 1500s. And he says, especially, in particular, I believe this is in his sword and dagger. I'm sorry, cloak and dagger. Cloak and a dagger. He says, very, very carefully, he says, you must take special precaution to look at that person's dagger. You don't worry about anything else. That guy's flapping a cloak in your face. He's going to do everything to try and keep your eye off that dagger. He says you keep your eye on the dagger. You don't have to worry about anything else. You're fine. If he stabs you, though, that's not okay. So he says specifically keep your eye on the dagger. All right, you guys want to fight? Sure. Okay. So we're going to do just some light sparring. We're out in public. Let's be friendly, right? Fight! I got! It's ready!
Ready?
Fight! Oh my God, Mike, you're dead. Okay. So she's gonna hit the arm. You got stabbed in the chest. Fight! Oh my! You can stand again. Okay, we're fighting the 3. Keep you out. Go again. You can see. Oh no! Mike has several years of experience. I think Kim has under a year of experience. So you can see. There it is. And you can see the quick reality is the really unfortunate reality of sword fighting. Fence is that often is the case that both fighters die. They shit go at each other. They cut each other. One person gets their arm really cut. The other person gets their body really cut. A head cut and a leg cut. That's the famous one, Spulenaufen, right? Auf Deutsch Spulenaufen. So if he throws a cut at her leg, boom, she will cut his head. This is called, yes, Spulenaufen. This is clearly counter. If someone goes low, you just, boom, get him in the head. And we know this is the sad, gross reality of sword fighting, is that often both would just, at the same time, they would have found their bodies, there it is. We would have found their bodies just about together. Let's do like 2 more. Okay. 1. One last one. Oh. Okay. Jelly good. Hey. Is there any more you'd like to add? Please don't let me go guard with Mike. Anything you want.
I think that really about covers everything.
You know what we totally didn't cover, thinking about it? We did not do any armored fighting or address that at all. Armored fighting.
You're gonna fight, but what we'll do is we'll talk about it. We'll do a little bit. It's all your stuff, but we'll talk about the armored part and how it relates to what you do.
All right. We got the book for it. We just don't do it.
Right, but we'll talk about it at fight.
Right. So if you want to come back and see more fighting, a lot more fighting, less talking, less of a discussion, we're going to be going again at 5. Got a question? Go ahead. We got 3 minutes.
Do they ever mention touching upon like different cultures, sword fighting, like Middle Eastern or Asian, like in these texts?
Okay. In the text, you will encounter occasionally in some of the later period texts, they will talk about Turkish fighters. But generally speaking, these books are written so locally. There's even one that's written as a house book, which is, it's written in the 1400s. There's a city in Germany, and the whole city had one book. Their library was just one massive book that contained all the things that were important in that one book. So like, the scope wasn't quite big enough to really encompass that much. But there are books, there are manuals written about sword fighting from medieval and feudal Japan and China and elsewhere. These are really cool to go through. There are societies that go through and do it. It's really cool. There's even recently been interacting a little bit with the Hama movement, which is like the sort of African martial arts movement. And they're really cool guys. They do really good research and stuff. They fight just like anybody else. They're just in a different context. It's all the same. You're fighting with so many different things. All right, I think we're going to wrap it up with that.
So one I want to add on to what you just said. There's also a group in Shanghai that they do HEMA as well.
Yeah, there's a group in Taiwan, and there's like Tin Tackle in Tokyo.
Yeah, so it's really growing worldwide. And of course, when they do their study, they're studying their own cultural martial arts in various forms as well.
Yeah, it's funny because like people in Shanghai or Taiwan or whatever, they're equally as detached from like 15th century Italy as we are. You know what I mean? We don't. I don't have any reason. I'm not. You know what I mean? We all have the books in the public domain. We're all equally detached from it. So. All right. Okay, that's all. Thanks, guys. Because everybody was dead in the play. That's very
earlier. Who was that?
Fiore di Liberi.
Ah, okay.
So he wrote a book called Fiore di Battaglia, The Flower of Battle, which is what we work with. There are 4 known apples. One of them is in the Getty in Los Angeles. So we have it here in America. The difference between us and the TFC, Direct Fight Club, is they do armored combat, we do unarmored combat. And so we do things like dagger fighting, and we do civilian fighting. So when you see weapons like this, or sword and buckler, we hold the sword and buckler. This is a buckler. It's a tiny shield. Why would you carry such a tiny shield? Can anyone guess? Yeah, deflection, parry, light, fast. The reality is just that this is not as good as a bigger shield. That's the reality of using this weapon. But in the same way, what? Listen, I'm really busy right now. Listen, I like you a lot. You're a very good little man. I'll be happy to answer all of your questions, I promise. What do you do in this situation?
Shield bash.
So this is the most commonly carried weapon combination of the Middle Ages. Tiny shield and sword. Why do you think this is? Anybody guess? Why is it?
Inexpensive.
That'll cost money?
More parrying iframes.
More parrying. What? The reality is that in the modern day, we can walk around. We can all, right now, all of us could be wearing helmets and flak jackets and M16s, but we don't because it's not socially acceptable and it's not really convenient for all of us to go. If we just need to go to the grocery store, go to a Comic-Con, to be carrying like a bunch of big armaments. What do you want? So, yeah, so as a result, most people in society weren't soldiers, so most people weren't carrying soldiers' weapons. They were carrying personal weapons of self-defense that you might carry around town. If you look at Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, this is classic literature. A lot of people study this in school. If you look at Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, which are from the mid-1400s, the butcher, the baker, they're on their way to Canterbury to go to church, and they're carrying swords and bucklers because they were afraid of getting jumped on the way there by bandits. So that was less common, but more skillful is the longsword. So if you ever hear the term hand-and-a-half sword, bastard sword, two-headed sword, longsword, the human community just ubiquitously refers to this as longsword. The Asian community also refers to this as ubiquitously known as a longsword, just for ease of conversation. And this is a weapon that's more of a dueling kind of a more noble kind of weapon. Were they super common? Not as common as sword and buckler, but they were around. Excuse me, let me grab my clipboard. So on top of that, I will add, just to preface this whole thing, why don't we have you and you, it's like YouTube, so I can do some sparring. Mike, would you please entertain the small child? So, just before we get any of this going, I want to tell you guys a couple of big misconceptions and myths about swords and sword fighting, so we're all on the same page here. Before I do that, let me tell you about who I am. So, about 11 years ago, I started doing HEMA, this stuff. I started doing full contact knife fighting with the guy who was called in as a reference in the OJ trial. Weird reference, but that's who it was, AJ Vicula and his students. I started doing Japanese sword fighting, and I lived and trained in Okinawa, Japan, and studied under Living National Treasure in 2009. In 2012, I went and trained in the UK and studied under Dave Rawlings, Warthus Fight School, London Sword and Dag Club, all those cool guys over there. I came back, did a bunch of sport fencing, which I now still coach. And now, since then, we have run Michigan's biggest HEMA longsword tournament, and we now have Michigan's oldest running HEMA longsword tournament. I'm very grateful for that. Listen, this is due to digitizing. If we didn't have digitized books, we wouldn't have all these cool stamps. So we're just a capstone on a big pyramid of transcribers, translators, and fundraisers that buy the rights and put these manuscripts in the public domain. Another myth. There's a big misconception that medieval sword fighting is a lot of just hacking, a lot of like just unskillful, just like bashing. This is not true. We have books upon books. We have 150 known manuals from the Middle Ages and Renaissance that tell you to dexterously and agilely attack and defend with these weapons. How much does a sword weigh?
40 pounds, 50 pounds, 80 pounds.
7.
This sword in my hand weighs about 3.1 pounds. I think it's a little heavy. And a Mike's weighs about 2.5 pounds. But these are really close to the original. I actually have a sword that's a replica of a Swiss sword from around 1530, and that weighs about 2.5 pounds. So that's the range we're working in. Swords were expensive. This is another myth. Swords were expensive. Hey, let's have you guys start doing some sparring. Let's do synthetics.
Tim wanted to use steel as a birthday today.
Oh, what are you? Well, it's your birthday. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Okay. Let's have you guys do some light sparring. Next one. Swords were expensive. This is a big myth. If you go before the middle medieval period, swords weren't that expensive. Migration era, kind of medieval white era, dark age. These swords were indeed expensive. By the time of the Middle Ages, we talked about this earlier, but we have a receipt for a sale of a sword in the city of London in about 1510, and it was used as a murder weapon. It was used as a murder weapon at the same time. It was auctioned off for 2 pence. 2 pennies! Yeah, salute! Go ahead and fence that. Go ahead. All right. Go! That's ready! Let's! And take it easy, it's your birthday. So we have it was used as a murder weapon and it was auctioned off. 2 pence, 2 pennies. At this point in time, the lowest paid troops in the English army were bowmen and billmen, which got paid 6 pence per day. So for 1/3 of a low-paying troop's wages, you could buy a sword we know worked because it was a murder weapon. There you go. Another one, and I'm embarrassed at how frequently I get this. Swords are only sharp in the last 6 inches. People say this. This is not true. Long swords like this were in use from around 1350 to about 1550 in dozens of different countries. The idea that they were all only sharpened in the last 6 inches is ridiculous to think that they would do that. All right, break it up. This is a couple right here. I normally don't like couples fighting each other. No, let me tell you, anybody out there who wants to be a martial arts instructor, brother and sister, couple, father, son, don't let them fight until they're more experienced. They'll lose their minds. All right, have at it. Another one. Okay, I would also like to point out, again, we do unarmored combat. You would find these in a non-civilian context in fully armored combat. This was a thing that happened in the medieval period. But that's not. That's a different group.
Okay, that's yours.
Lot more.
Okay. Please. Let's do a couple more rounds. Yeah, Mike, why don't you get ready for using close-up? Let's do 2 more. One. All right, that's good. Let's go through the theoretical stuff. Okay. So Mike, why don't you come on here with me? All right, on this page here, we have 18 postas. Posta is just posture. In Fiore de Liberi, the maestro, he describes it as one which is guards and counterguards. We also have this in the German tradition of custodia and obsessio for sword and buckler from the Royal Armors 133 at about around late 1200s, 1400s. Come on now. Pass off. All right. So, and you can fact check me. You want to test my students today? See what they look like in pictures.
We can't see it, so
They can't see it. All right. Come on now. Here we go. All right. First one. Posta de donna, the guard of the lady. So slippery with the shoes. Posta de la soprana, the high guard of the lady. Next one. Posta de finestra, the window guard. Okay. Posta de la sinistra, so left-handed is sinister in Italian. Did you know that? Which relates to this belief that left-handed people are some. Of course they are. Next one, posta longa, the long guard. Posta breve, the near guard. Posta coda longa, the long tail guard. Can we keep it up? Okay, next one, posta frontale di corona, the guard of the crown. And then Posta de bicorno. Bicorna, as in two horns. Can you guess why this is called the two-horned guard? Does this look like an animal or two horns? It's called two horns like how an anvil has two horns. Like an anvil, because it's very strong. Figure that one. The other weird one, which we'll get to in a minute, I'll explain. Okay, next one. Does anybody remember the next one? Okay, next one. Tutto portaferro, the iron door. Portaferro mezzana, the middle iron door. Next one. Dente de cinghiaro, the boar's tusk. Dente de cinghiaro mezzana, the middle of the boar's tusk. Next one, very fun. Posta Sagittaria. Take two, Sagittarius astrology people. 2 fingers here, like this. And this is done for when you're going to throw your sword at somebody. Fiore says if you try and hold it here, you might cut your hand, get hung up here. Hold it like that, and you can chuck it. I have tried this, it works. I hope you never have to throw a sword at somebody, but if you have to, try it. Get a blue handle or something, just go home and try it, it's fine. Okay.
Nothing you do during sparring with a friend.
Mike goes through a sword. Mike throws a sword and just like this. Oh, you're going to actually throw it in here?
With me? One word.
I usually throw it a lot harder, but he doesn't have a mask on.
We trained in a room that has a giant glass window and a giant glass mirror, and I'm never expected to get to this one. Anyway, next one. Posta previa stampatina. Which is here. This is for doing very long thrusts, like this. So if Mike puts his hand up, you might say, if Mike just puts his hand up, with my right foot forward, I'll end the rope. I get about this much range, right? If I switch feet, I lose some range because I'm fighting against my body. If I put my right foot forward, let go with one hand, and also have that extra range in the serpentina, very, very far range. So if he tries to swing back at me, I'm very much out of range, but I can cut him all, cut his hands, and this is done, like that. Gives you a bit of an advantage. Okay. After that, we have the pose of the true cross and the pose of the bastard cross, which looks about like that. It's a half sword. And the last one is the one that I said in a funny, weird meaning. Posta serpentina la soprana, the high guard of the serpent. Why is it called the serpent? Because it sneaks up on you like sleep. Why is he making this reference? Because Fiore is trying to show off how educated he is. So he's talking about a reference from Pliny the Elder. Look it up. And the last one, of course, is like this. Posta go longer with one hand. And I will read you a funny quote about that. Why don't we have you guys do some more sparring? You want to jump into some of them?
Three way.
So we're going to get ready. I'm going to read you a quote from Fiore about sword fighting in general and those particular poses. He says, "You are cowards and know little of this art. You are all warriors without any deeds, and I challenge you to come at me one after another if you dare. And even if there are 100 of you, I will destroy all of you." That's the pose. Does this look like he can destroy all 100 of us? Very humble, Fiore. He says, "I will crush anyone who opposes me. I am of royal blood. I dispense justice and advance the causes of good and destroy evil. To those who learn my crossings, I will grant great fame, renown, and hard fighting." Such humility. Okay, salute! On guard! Let's ready!
Hey!
A lot of people here, just don't take each other's heads off, too bad. Let's! You're used to fighting in a much bigger space. Yeah, so what happened? Did you get hit?
Yeah, I went through his fingers, but he got me here, and then he swung up, and I said, good.
Yeah, okay.
And he
Carry on, yes, okay, that's more. So, the sad reality of sword fighting, I would like to point out now, is that what? Slippery turn shoes? Is that there's a lot of people deaths. Both people will swing, both people will hit, and both people would die. This is something that was a chronic problem in sword fighting, still is, was back in the day. I'm sure they found many people, 2 cadavers, pinned shish kebab together, and everyone knew, oh, those guys killed each other. Oh. They're both named Mike, by the way. Oh my God! Okay, that brings my next point. Would you mind saying, yeah, Mike, I want to demonstrate this Fiore play with you. Okay, so There we go.
Yes.
Can everybody see that? Okay, the first frame you see, and again, this is from Fiore de Battaglia, about 1404, written about his experience in the second half of the 1300s. The first thing you see is a mutual bind. So this is the middle bind. This happens all the time. You probably saw it just happen in split-second basis a dozen times just now. The first thing he does, as you look at the second panel, is he cuts straight down into the arm. At this point, I want to cut my thumb off, and then he stabs it. And this happens at a pacing of, that's it. And so this is one full sword fight. You have one move, one entire sword fight. The next thing he describes on a different page. Alternatively, from the mutual bind, Fiore says, just grab it. Just grab it. Why not? He's trying to kill me! Here it goes, up. Fiore says, just grab it. Ah, and that's the next play. So, look at the last page on the right there. What do you see? Kick. That's the page. So, in total, mutual bind, first, best choice, 1, 2. If that doesn't work, alternatively, he counters, and you got it. This makes sense? Okay, this, 1404. 2018! 1404! 2018! Okay, wait on. Alright. What time? How good we time? We can do a lot more fighting. Do 20 minutes. Okay.
Whenever you're ready, we can.
Let me do some more fighting with that.
Okay.
You two fight, I'll get over here.
So what we're also going to show you is Kyle and I, who we've met once before this weekend, talked a couple times.
Nearly complete strangers.
Let these guys go first, and I'll give you the rundown.
This is called Überlaufen in German, auf Deutsch. Someone swings low, you can get him in the head. Hey, listen!
Mike, fight me sword and buckler.
Alright, salute! Very important to begin and end with courtesy.
So I'm an admirer of HEMA, the style of fighting they're doing. That's not the style of fighting we do in Armor. I love what they do, the training in the manuals. We should do more of it because there's all great lessons to be learned. So I reached out to Kyle and the Michigan Medieval Combat Association and said, hey, you want to do this thing with us this weekend? And they're like, yeah, sounds like fun. So they're here. I hope you're enjoying this. But what we're going to do is Kyle and I are actually going to fight with longsword to show you. I've never studied the manual except for maybe twice for a couple hour sessions.
I don't really do armor combat either.
Huh?
I don't really do any armor combat
Right.
either.
But what we're going to do is we're going to fight the longsword in the HEMA style point system and strikes and thrusts to just show you the comparison of contrasting the styles. You'll also be able to see his experience come into play and my inexperience. Even though I've been fighting a long time, he should dominate me. I mean, he really should. I'm just
expectation to live up to.
I'm setting myself up as an underdog. So it looks
on
better.
a national level team.
It'll be fun. Anyway.
Thanks. Anybody see that? There's a couple of quick hand shots in there. And again, we're doing a martial art here. We're not fighting for points. So when I want to take Mike out of combat, I hit him in the hands, I hit him in the face. We know these things are going to end a fight with one shot. If I hit him in the hand, his hand doesn't work, he's done fighting. If I get him across any of his senses in his face, he cannot perceive correctly, he is done fighting. Okay, Succ. One slip through. Anybody see that? I got it.
Got him in the arm.
It's very quick. What? I got me on the side of the lane. All right. Okay, let's do something else.
So those fights are very fast. It's not going to last long, right? It's boom, there it is. You got to be paying attention or it's over. And if you look at Olympic fencing, that Olympic fencing is an evolution of what they're doing now, right? Before there was Olympic fencing where it's pure sport, just little, they got little trigger fingers on them and everything. It was this. You want to go now?
Yeah, I'll fight you.
So after Kyle and I get done fighting a little bit, Sean and I are going to fight in our style, so you can really see the difference of, you've seen the forms, you've heard about the masters, Kyle has shown you this fantastic stuff, and then you're going to watch us be brutal and not do anything when we're in armor. Part of that is there was some thrusting. We don't do thrusting, so because that will kill people. And when we do our stuff at full speed, full violence, we can't thrust because it's just, it'll end bad.
Another one of the big differences is if you're fighting in armor, you can prioritize taking a shot. You know what I mean? If I strike him with the sword in the arm, he's gonna be fine. But if you're trained to do unarmored combat, if you get hit once, you're gonna die. You might have no harm. I'd also say that your top level fighters, your Muhammad Ali type level fighters, they still get hit about 25% of the time. They're the top of the game. They get hit about 25% of the time. So if you're sword fighting, that's 25% of the time, you're gonna die. You can only take one shot. Oh, you want one of our swords? Okay.
Doing,
Yeah, I guess. Do you have leather-soled shoes like me?
I do.
Are you serious? Yes! I literally was walking in like a small man. All right. Good salute. I like it. Again, I met this guy. This is the second time I've ever seen this guy in my life.
now they're gonna fight. What do you know?
True swordsman.
Now you make friends. Probably like 1 point. Yeah. How many people? How many people? How many competitors? Probably not more than like 100 or 200.
Okay, so to give you a little perspective, HEMA has only been around as a sport for 10 years.
Just something like 10 years, yeah,
right?
maybe a little more.
And they have, the biggest tournaments they have 200 people fighting in a tournament format like this, competing. So their sport is still growing.
It's quite small. It's about 60,000 practitioners worldwide.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, wow.
spread out the whole worldwide.
That's very small.
It's really good though. All right.
Let's just start lightly.
Yes! I know!
I know this guy's a stranger to me. All right, here we go. So that would have been a good.
You got my hand.
If he wasn't wearing armor, that would have been a hand fingers on the floor.
Remember, even though I'm armored, we're fighting in an unarmored instance. Yeah. Yeah, you got me.
I got something.
Sorry, a little hard.
We're good. No, that's perfectly fine. It's all light. It's all very light, very light. Yeah. Got my hand. It's like loving that sort of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I don't like that trade. No. See? Huh? He's been doing this for 13 years and he's just eating my life. Told you.
I felt something
Yeah, bad trade, good. Okay.
Remember, they're both trying to not die. That's where.
Yeah, a little bit, not as flat.
That sounds more like a 10-year plan.
Good grab.
Yeah. Have I hit you yet? Please! That's good enough.
The slide was pretty intense.
You mean get to the counter?
Woo! He's going easy on me.
No, I'm not. Seriously, that's what I was saying is the difference in training, right? Of what you're training for. I'm training for this sport. They're training for HEMA, unarmored sword fighting, and the combat is different. And I've never trained in any of these styles. And like I said,
I don't do armored either.
hey, right? You know, so if I throw him in armor, I'm gonna be beating him on the ground.
Yep.
Push him armor on. No. Maybe tomorrow.
Anyway, I'll let you guys do some more fighting, and then we'll do our longsword to show you what our score looks like and how much difference it is.
Yeah. That's fun. All right, let's fight. Go fight me. You guys are ready to fight? Okay. Again, the biggest difference is if you're doing armor stuff and somebody hits you with one of those handcuffs, they can just laugh at you.
Yeah.
I mean, for us though, we're imagining there is no gauntlet. So if you get hit in the hand, you know, this hard, that's one finger going. That's two fingers going.
Alright, so the actual lesson in HEMA is attack when your opponent can't attack you back. Like you're putting on.
I would say off the record, if you're fighting a fair fight, you've already made a mistake. All right, ready? Ready? All right, guys. Oh, I got you though. Yeah, come on. You see, that'll freeze back. He heard me. Good job. That's a good move. Thank you. All right, let's do first to three. Best of three. Back.
Ooh.
1, 2. Oh my God, the good one. 3. Good. Okay, that's it. Yeah, go ahead.
Holy cow.
Like I said, I really can't emphasize it enough. These guys' skill, ladies and gentlemen of the Michigan Medieval Combat Association, it's fantastic what they're doing. You know, you saw he just ate my lunch, so the training it applies. And when the swords are real and you're fighting on the street and you're in armor, you don't want to get touched because you're going to get hurt, right? So, but now you can watch some violence and lack of form.
Yeah!
We'll say, we love what you guys do too. Like,
And I want to do a sword buckler with you.
sweet.
Yeah! Alright. You know, everybody get a little more fun.
I'll fight you.
We're just going to fight, you'll probably get a good feel of how it goes. Normally we'd have somebody counting strikes. We're going to fight for 60 seconds, but it's more about the difference in forms and the different styles of fighting. Can you pull this that way? We don't want to hit that. Thank you. Hey! Get in here! Hey! Come on! Don't be a stranger.
I'll take that.
God! Wearing a Batman shirt, hiding in the shadows. All right. Hi, Rich. Hello.
Fighters ready? Time ready? Start fight. Normally when they do these fights, they're 3 times that long.
So now do you see why I didn't want to fight that guy?
But seriously, how much form was there? There was some, right? You saw some form, some strikes similar, but not even close to the extent of what's out there.
You guys are body dynamics, so
yes.
With all that protection, how much do those hits do you actually feel? Quite a bit?
Hey, hit me in the thumb, hit me in the gauntlet. The rest of it, head's a little, don't ask me to calculate the tip, that don't work.
Even 20 armor, my legs are black and blue most of the time.
Yeah?
you want to fight?
Typically, bruises are the worst we get.
I do want to do some punches.
What are we doing
Yeah,
now?
concussions.
You guys want to go again?
I haven't got I made sure to specify. I've had my fair share.
So, we're also going to be doing more of that later on. You come back 7 and 9 o'clock, we'll be doing that too. So, we'll do a lot more of that then. But this is fantastic stuff.
Good thing you have breaks between.
It's, yeah. 10% in our stuff, yeah. How much injuries do you miss?
I will say, in HEMA in general, there are injuries happen. I'm really proud to say that in 11 years of doing this, we've never had like a hospital trip. We've never had a major injury in 11 years.
Oh yeah, I can't talk about that.
Oh my God!
You're pretty introduced to your opponent.
On guard! Let's ready! Fight! There's 1, go! Like the beaker. I'll call that 1 each.
Just being very generous.
Synthetic swords now, you notice they're much quieter. These swords are about 3/4 weight and a little more flexible. I call that a double. What do you call it? Oh, man. Alright, jump in there. The thing I like about synthetics is like these don't rust, they require no maintenance.
Yeah.
They'll be around for like eons after we're all dust. They don't break. I've never broken. I've never seen that. All right, hold.
You've been learning for years to take it off.
All right, who will fight me now?
Go between three.
All three?
Oh. All right, let's do three more. One, double. And again, the reality of these fights would have been really bad stomach, really bad neck punch.
I know, right?
Die. I'm scary. Two more. One. Everybody dies. Okay, last one. Well, that's it. Let's. Oh, no. What? No,
Yeah, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's hear it for Kyle.